The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to this week's installment of Marc in the Midday. As always, I'm Marc Weiss. I'm starting it up over here, and of course, I'm with my partner in crime, Marc Littell, a.k.a. Country, who is our closer. And this week, we've got Mitch Messer as our guest, and Mitch is the VP of Operations for the newly formed Expedition League. And Mitch, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you aboard. So tell us a little bit about the league. Tell us what the goals are, what type of play it's going to involve, and what the actual venues are going to be.
Yeah. So it's a collegiate summer league, and this league really spawned about 7 or 8 years ago by the league president, Steve Wagner. And so he had this idea that out here in the Dakotas and Nebraska and Wyoming, this part of the country, communities really didn't have access to good baseball, and there wasn't anything going on. A lot of these stadiums and areas that we're serving right now used to have some minor league ball back in the 60s, and he thought it'd be a great option for bringing baseball back to this part of the country. So the league started 4 years ago, and our inaugural season will be this summer. So it'll be the summer of 2018, and the markets that we're in for 2018 are Minot, North Dakota, Dickinson, North Dakota, Aberdeen, South Dakota, Pierre, South Dakota, Spearfish, Casper, Wyoming, Hastings, Nebraska, and Gering, Nebraska. So it's an 18 league for our inaugural season.
Now, how is transit between each of these towns going to be, and how is your schedule set up? Is it going to be like traditional, like 3 or 4 game series and people busing it to get from one location to the next?
Yeah. Yep. It's going to be a traditional 3 to 4 game series. We split the league into 2 divisions. So there are going to be 2 4-team divisions. And we want to try to emulate the minor league experience as much as we can. We want to stay away from the 2 game sets. If we can stay with the 3 to 4 game sets, we're going to do that. And obviously most of the games are going to be in division. We do have out of division games, but we've gotten creative with the schedule to make sure that, travel is not too burdensome for all of our markets.
Where are you getting the kids, and what age bracket is it typically going to be? I mean, obviously there's no ceiling or no minimum, but what do you see that as being?
Yeah. So, right now we've got kids from all over the country, from the Northwest. We've got Southern California kids. These are all guys that have NCAA eligibility remaining. We, on a limited basis, will take high school graduates who have already signed a 4-year letter of commitment. That's on a case-by-case basis. And anybody who's aged out at the college level, we will not take. So it's kind of, your college freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. And with every market, we're running 30-man rosters. So every team will have 16 to 18 arms, 12 to 14 position guys.
Would you say that one of the big goals is to get them acclimated to what minor league life is going to be, because that's probably the next progression for them after they leave college?
Absolutely, 100%. And look, part of minor league ball, part of that life, and you guys know this, is bus time, right? I mean, spending 3 nights in one market, and then you're hitting the bus, and you're off to the next market. And really, our footprint, the longest bus ride that's possible is 8 hours. So it's not overly burdensome from that standpoint. It's pretty reasonable. But yeah, we want to get these guys prepared for what's next.
I can't imagine a better field than Dickinson probably being one of the top, if not the best field of the 8 teams. Am I close to that, Mitch?
Yeah, it's I love that market. I love that field. That's another thing about this area. There's so many great stadiums, and they're old stadiums, and most of these communities in the last 3 to 4 years have put a lot of money into renovation. So these are great venues for these kids to be playing in.
Well, I know the good thing about the Dickinson Stadium is that I get better food out there than I do some restaurants. So these little old ladies come out there and they can really cook. I'm saying, holy cow, what's going on?
Yeah, and we're going to create the minor league experience for the fans as well. We're going to have party decks, beer garden areas, kid zones, in between inning entertainment. You know, we're going to do all that you know, most other leagues that are doing as well. It's, you know, it's just unique. The only thing that's really unique about what we're doing is where we're offering it, right? We're in the Dakotas. Northwoods operates in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and really the communities out here aren't any different than the small town communities in Minnesota and Wisconsin. So, so far the reception's been great. Communities are super excited.
It sounds to me like you guys are filling a void, which, like, we see, like, on the East Coast, we see low-level A ball, rookie ball, or whatever they want to call it. Same thing like in Arizona and the West Coast. And even in the southern parts of the country, there's a lot of minor league teams. But you guys are picking up in venues that were abandoned, I guess, when the minor league system dropped the C and the D and the B divisions and the D divisions in minor league ball.
Right, exactly. You hit the nail on the head. We're filling a void. You know, it used to be the old Basin League out here in South Dakota, and you know, that went away in early 70s and for a number of reasons. But yeah, there's a void, and look, people out here love baseball. Just because we're in the north doesn't mean we don't like baseball. We love baseball, and yeah, we're just giving communities an opportunity to come out and see something different. And you know what? Ultimately, what we're hoping also is that this builds baseball in these communities. So all these little kids that are coming out for all these different promotional nights, hopefully, you know, it sparks something in them in the same way that my first baseball game sparked something in me.
Well, apparently it sparked a lot of interest for you because as far as coaching goes, you seem to be a South Dakota legend. 4 Legion championships in 6 seasons. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
That's not a fluke, right?
That works.
Depends on who you talk to.
Yeah, 1's a fluke, 2's a possibility, 4 and 6 is like a dynasty.
Yeah.
Right.
That'll work. You've got 62 games going on out here, and then what's the start time you said on the league, Mitch?
Yeah, the first pitch is on May 25. Regular season concludes August 5, and then the playoffs begin. It'd be August 7.
Right.
So you guys are almost kind of mirroring the short season A ball, like the leagues that are out there, the ones that start like right after school ends.
Yeah, correct. Very similar type of season. Yep.
Especially since those kids that you're getting, especially the pitchers, you have no idea how much mileage they might already have on their arms and their shoulders from their high school and college coaches using them.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, that's why we're going to have some late signs on the mound as well, just because, you know, a lot of these college coaches will say, hey, we'll let you know at the end of March because I'll have a better idea of how I'm going to be using this guy. Or, you know, we've had some schools say, well, we're going to send you 3, and then at the break, I want those guys home, and I'll send you another 3. So, you know, that's one of the dynamics of collegiate summer leagues that is unique compared to the minor league experience, because really we're renting these guys, right? They all go somewhere. They're off to fall ball when we get done with them, and we're picking them up after their spring. So we want to make sure we're taking care of these kids as well, but also giving them an opportunity to develop and get better.
Now,
that's the unique thing is to have the 16. That's the unique thing is to have those 16 pitchers, though. You know, because they don't burn those arms out. You're getting a report basically from the college coach to say, hey, don't throw this guy more than 25 innings, and then you know you abide by that, and you keep a friendly campers all the way around. That's the unique.
That's right. And we're trying in most of the markets. The plan, I've spoken with most of the general managers and the head coaches as well. The plan is to run 6-man rotations. So if you can do that, another thing about our league is we're adhering to pitch smart rules. So if, for example, anybody violates pitch smart regulations, which is basically a pitch count rule, and you can go online, you can check it out if you've not heard of it. I think most people have. There's fines involved, there's suspensions involved. So this is something we're taking very serious because, you know, everybody's heard the horror story of the summer leagues that play over 70 games and they overuse guys, and then they go back in the fall and they can't even participate in fall ball because they need a break. So we don't want that. We want these guys to get the right amount of experience and obviously we want them to have fun too because we want them to come back.
Plus, if they do not adhere by the rule, they put them on a bull, right, out here or something like that.
Yes, we have a number of rodeos throughout the summer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So something like that. Well, doesn't make sense to do that though, because if you don't have the talent coming back, a league doesn't exist, and so you want to take as good a care of that talent as possible. So they spread the word, and you start to get more talent, and then eventually go from 8 teams to 12, and then to 16.
Yeah, that's right. And especially in this day and age, if a kid has a bad experience, it's pretty easy for him to put that out there
in about 2 seconds on Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. You give them a bad meal, they're going to tweet it. So that's another thing. I mean, we're going to be irrationally generous in how we're treating these kids. And so, I mean, the last thing I enjoyed was going off and playing summer ball, and then after the game they get you a hot dog, right? Meanwhile, your coach is saying, hey, I want you to be in the weight room and put on 10 good pounds. It's like, well, I just played 9 innings and you gave me a hot dog and some chips. How am I going to get that done? So we're going to feed these guys really well. They're going to get catered meals. We're charter buffs. So we really want to kind of be, if we're going to be different in any way, that's what we want to be known as the league that's giving all these guys everything, giving these players everything they need to be successful. And now whether or not they're successful, that's on them. But we're going to be generous with how we treat them.
The thing with Jason, you have Jason Watson as the general manager here in Dickinson, and then you have Jason Hopoff, who's really come forward in taking hold of the community. So I do know, because I'm here in Dickinson myself, and the community is totally behind this, and Jason has pushed it, as well as a lot of the other 15 foundation members in this area to make this thing work. And I notice you've also got host families in line for those players as well. Am I on target right there?
Yeah, I'd say if there's a urgency or something that we're maybe need help a little bit with on, that'd be the host family area. I mean, we're having a hard time, especially in Dickinson. I think we've only got 3 or 4 families secured, so we need help in Dickinson with host families. And I think once people start telling the story, or even having a couple players tell the story of host families, those are relationships that are formed for life, really.
Do you guys float season tickets for the host families as well? So this way they've got some skin in the game too?
Yeah, absolutely. We give them a discount at the concession stand, and they get some gear, and obviously they get some season tickets too. So yeah, we try to take care of them as best we can.
Sure. But I can tell you this, the stadium is really nice. It's got Mark. It's got a S-strip infield, and the outfield is really nice. It's not so much to me a pitcher's park with what they got coming there. You can use wood bat or composite bat here.
You guys
wood bat. Yep,
we would.
We signed a contract with Max Bats, so they're going to be the official supplier of bats for the Expedition League.
That's cool. Are you allowed to use a bomb bat in the league? That's another question.
No.
Okay.
No.
Didn't know. Just ask.
Yeah. No bombers, no composites. We're going straight wood.
Okay. Yeah.
But hey, and maybe you know this, Mark. I don't recall the amount of money that the city's put into that ballpark in Dickinson over the last 5 years, but there's been significant investment there.
There's been over $1 million. I know they put $400,000 into the seating, and I know they put a little bit more into that turf. And it's been a pretty good amount to a noticeable change. It's an old ballpark, but it's a very, very well maintained and well built ballpark. And it's got a great location because on the other side of it is the Hart River, where Custer went down before he got his ass kicked out there in Montana.
Should have stayed down.
Yeah, that was good odds. I think it was take Custer and give the points, and it didn't work out well.
So you can look at history about 100 yards right behind the back right field wall there. So
is the park considered a historic landmark?
Sorry,
is the park classified as a historic landmark?
I don't think so. but the Heart River sure is. So,
Yeah.
Well, that ain't going anywhere.
don't need it at Custer. So, he kind of got blocked in, and he said, "Where in the hell all these damn Indians come from? Holy shit!"
A late rally he couldn't stave off.
No, Sioux had their shit together that day.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So Mitch, are you going to miss Legion Ball?
You know, I'm going to miss the kids. I'm going to miss that interaction with the kids every day. You know how it is. I mean, you're just working with a team, and even as a coach, you just kind of feel like working together with other guys on a common goal. So I'll miss that. But coaching at that level, no, not at all. And I think you guys can read between the lines there. No.
Yeah, I coach Little League and travel ball. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. You know,
as far as working with the kids, everything else you could throw away.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Rapid City is a different animal. I mean, they got 1,600 season ticket holders for their Legion program. So, I mean,
wow.
And you got an alumni base in Rapid City. They've won 42 state championships. So, you know, the guy I followed up, he won, let's see, that would have been 38. No, I'm sorry, he won 36 because there was another guy that won a couple too. But, yeah, so there's quite the tradition. There's a lot of expectations there. Not that there's not expectations everywhere you go, but I'm looking forward to this new gig. I'm really excited.
What were like the top couple of things that made you decide that this is the right move for Mitch?
Well, the more and more I was there at Post 22 in Rapid City, the more it became aware to me that it just was the direction that I was taking the program. I'm not sure the organization, the board, was maybe on the same page with that. And, you know, not that they didn't want me there. It just became, every year got to be a little bit harder. And when you don't share the vision, then ultimately I know where that was going to go. So that and some family time, and there were a lot of different things that kind of went into that decision. But I was ready for something new. I was ready for a new challenge, and kicking off a new league, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Now,
on the ground floor. Good. Sorry.
I was going to say, how would you say your league is going to differ from, let's say, I think like there's that big one in the Massachusetts area. I think it's like the Cape Cod League is like a big summer league. Like, how would you say that you're going to differentiate yourself from something like what they do? Or are you going to be similar?
Yeah. Yep. Look, Cape is like creme de la creme, right?
Right.
If you're a draft guy, you're going to the Cape. And really, the Cape is not necessarily about the fan experience, because when you go to one of those games, I mean, really, you're kind of playing at a city park, which is cool. I mean, that's got some nostalgia to it as well. But so I think the fan experience is going to be different. I'd say maybe our experience is going to be closer to what they're doing in the Northwoods, or even in the you know, like Prospect League or some of those other leagues where you know, some of the things that are going on during the game are going to be a little bit more featured. So in terms of how we're going to stand out, I think we're going to stand out in how we treat our kids. I know it sounds really cliche. It sounds kind of dumb, right? Like, really? That's what you're going to do? Yeah, we are.
Well, no, it
we
sounds
want to
spot on
attract the
because
best players.
It sounds spot on because knowing this generation of kids, they're not like my generation where you were told to suck it up and you better kind of conform to the way the people who were there before you did it or you won't be around. These kids have the power of instant gratification and social media that could sink a league. So, yeah, you have to conform to them. I think you're spot on with it. Yeah.
And look, man, I want these guys to have fun. This should be a fun league. Yes, we want to develop, but this isn't the spring where we're counting up how many wins, and man, it's just you're hanging on to every pitch. I mean, not to say that you're not going to be competitive, but you know, it's just going to be a different kind of feel. So we want these guys to maybe relax a little bit, go have fun, work on a certain part of their game that they need to work on, and you know, just take care of them. Like you said, these guys, this generation, they like stuff like swag, right? We're giving them free spikes. Well, who does that? Really? Free spikes for a summer league? And, you know, they're getting their shirts and all this other stuff that they get for being in the league. We signed a contract with Under Armour, so we got nice uniforms in every market. Little things like each player is going to get 2 sets of white pants. I think that's uncommon for collegiate summer leagues. 2 grades, little things. So
you're tapped right into how these kids think, because I coach them on the high school level, and they love the swag. They love it. I mean, they love the shirts and the jackets and like you said, the pants and the free spikes. It's amazing. It's amazing how they're driven like that. It's just like you give them bags full of goodies and they're happy.
I can raise my hand. I can raise my hand on this one, but I have that Arizona League, those teams down there, and then you're in a city of 5 million versus 27,000 here, which this is basically the show coming to town here. And when you go down into the Arizona Collegiate League with 10 teams down there, and you show up for a game, and it's girlfriend, the dog, and some parents, and then you're playing on some great fields and everything, but it's 115. I remember last year, June 14th, when we opened, it was 119 that day, and I said, my gosh, I hope it doesn't continue. So thank God it didn't. But it's a totally different venue than when you're in this environment up here, and you have travel and things of that nature. And I think the thing about the development also mentally and emotionally is when these kids play with other players from other colleges, and they tap into that is, where are you from? Well, I'm from the Northeast. Where are you from? I'm from Southern California. So there's the yin and the yang right there. Right off the bat, you got a beach boy and another beach boy. One's cold and one's hot. So who knows? So it's interesting.
Yep. And, all these guys are going to be required to be involved in the community. So each player is going to have to attend 5 different community events, whether that's throwing BP to a Little League team or, stuffing backpacks of food, whatever that might be. But so we want to get these guys plugged in, feeling part of the community. And I think it's a win-win. I think the more the kids are plugged into the community, it's better.
Honestly, that generation loves that stuff. They want to feel needed and part of something bigger.
Yep. And on some of our uniforms, every market's got a uniform where it's got the town name on it, right? So it develops a sense of community. Like, no, we play for Pierre, or we play for Dickinson. So, and the community is going to like that too. Like, hey, this is cool. We got this kid from Southern California up here, and for 3 months he's part of Dickinson. So.
Now, how are you putting the teams together? Is there an initial draft, or is it that each of the local teams themselves is going to be able to, make contact with the colleges and kind of recruit the kids that they want to bring in for the summer, or are you running it out of operations centrally yourself?
Yeah, I mean, in the early days, it was really that burden fell on me. So I was doing a lot of recruiting. Obviously, you go to the guys that you know. But there's no official tryout. It's all on a recommendation basis. So we leveraged all of our relationships at the college level and a few of our professional contacts, and just started knocking on doors, watching a lot of fall ball. And right now we're 85-90% of the way there on rosters. And
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. It's a big one.
Yeah, we have a lot of folks who listen to us, obviously in the Midwest, because Marc's got his huge fandom, and we've got some folks over here out in the East Coast. So if any college coaches or JUCO coaches over here in the East Coast wanted to send some kids your way, how would they reach out to you to get in contact?
Yeah, they can email me, and my email address is on our website, theexpeditionleague.com. Or they can email me, mitch.messer@theexpeditionleague.com. For the 2018 season, right now, all of our position guys are full in all 8 markets. We've got some room for bullpen arms. But you know how this goes. I mean, there's going to be some attrition. So, we're looking for midsummer type of contracts right now on the field.
Mitch, you try and carry 3.5 catchers or 3 catchers per team?
Really, when it comes to roster composition, we're leaving that to each individual market. The only thing we're going to say is that you got to have 30, because we just want to make sure that guys aren't getting burned out. So, however each individual GM and head coach want to put together their roster is up to them. But there's a few out there that do go with 3 catchers. a few of them, depending on the catcher, I think, or the two guys that they've got. They're going with two, and maybe they opt for an extra arm, or they opt for an extra infielder, or an extra utility guy that can kind of do a couple different things for them. So
here's a wild one. You going to have any trades?
Well, that's a good one.
That's going to be discussed at our league meetings here this afternoon. So
that's a good,
on the table.
Now let's fast forward to year number 2, because I always like to look into the future. I played for Dickerson this year, and I want to play again next year. Am I automatically invited back to their roster, or do I go back to like a central pool and anyone can go after me?
So the first right of refusal is your existing market.
Okay.
You have to be released. So if you played for Dickinson this year, but after traveling around, you're like, hey, I want to go play in Minot next year. You'd have to get released by the previous team.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it's not necessarily a release, but it's more of something on our end just to make sure that all the owners are happy.
So when does obviously it's not going to be spring training because it's after the spring season is over. So I guess technically we'd call it summer training. When is your training camp going to start for each of the 8 teams?
You know what? These guys aren't going to have a lot of time. In fact, we'll probably still have some showing up late because depending on how their teams are doing, if they go in the postseason. Yeah. But I'd say most of the guys are going to be able to get in Tuesday the 22nd of May or Wednesday the 23rd at the latest. And we'll probably have a day or two to run through some practices, get the guys familiar with each other, and it's on to first pitch. So
most of those guys have just come away from a game 4 and 5 days before even, So
yeah.
I think any player that goes out there, he's going to play what he does best, and for the most part, you really don't need, because I know I don't have a workout either with the college guys, because they're supposed to know at that age that they need to stay with it, and if they don't, that's why they become sore or they can't play up to their standard.
Right. Yeah, and at the most, these guys will have had at the most 1 week off. So
yeah, really,
they should be able to. Yeah, I mean, they should be able to get
some will be in playoffs
on the stage, and throw a bullpen and let's go.
Some will be in playoffs in college.
Let's face it, they're like the kids I coach. They're working out and doing things all year long anyway. So it's not like there's even an off season anymore.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Which might be to their detriment in some way, shape, or form, not playing other sports, but it kind of is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alrighty, so folks, we've come to that point in the show where the starters run out of gas, and I got to go to the pen and bring in the tall righty.
Mitch, this is kind of the way it goes here, but I can tell you this: we've had a good time with you today. You carry yourself quite well. But since I'm the closer, I'm going to tell you how it's done. You throw peas at the knees, no pies in the eyes, no wall balls, and you'll be just fine. Thanks again, Mitch.